7 o'clock.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, fatal motor vehicle collisions dampen Easter celebrations. Mother of teen seen battling police speaks out. Mendes down uplifted by farm roads. For Inspired Jamaica pushing safely past Hirschsprung's disease. And in sports, runaway leaders Mount Pleasant continue their dominant run in the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League. Hello from Kingston, Jamaica. This is CVM News at 7 for Easter Sunday, April 20, 2025. I'm Curlin Brown. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, while many Jamaicans merry in the Easter celebrations, some are weeping the loss of loved ones. Among them, 3 people who perished since Good Friday in fatal crashes. Stakeholders maintain there's need for public education and continued precautionary measures by road users. Here's more from Nika Lewis.
Was anything but a Good Friday for some Jamaicans whose world was shattered when news of another tragic crash came. Several people were left injured and hospitalized, but 2 friends did not survive the latest incident along the Bracco Main Road in Trelawney. They've since been identified as Trelawney residents Michael Fletcher and Stefan Bruce.
Already, 3 persons have died in the first day of the 4-day-long weekend holiday. 3 persons already, and we've only gone 1 day out of the 4. 2 motorcyclists driving, according to reports, what seems to be off-road vehicles. So I'm not quite sure why they were on the road. They had no registration plates affixed. 2 of them died in a crash on the Bracco Road last night.
That stretch has earned itself quite the reputation for unsuspecting motorists as a crash zone. But before the night was out, meters away, tragedy struck again in St. Anne, where another motorist perished. Dr. Jones says as at Saturday morning, some 110 people died in fatal crashes across Jamaica.
We're really not getting a handle on the number of people who have been injured and what it is costing the country and costing individuals and costing communities. Also of note is that the data reveal that in the case of men, almost 60% of them were not wearing a safety device, no helmet, no seatbelt. The figure was even higher for women, almost 65%. This is very alarming and a matter which needs to be fixed and fixed urgently.
The medical doctor reminds that not wearing seatbelts and helmets will increase the risk of mortality or severe injuries. He is, however, praying that his message this Easter will stem the carnage.
10% of those who were injured, the use of alcohol was a contributing factor. And in 25%, the use of alcohol was unknown, which is another potential area for increase in the number of people who are driving under the influence of alcohol. In this context, then, that the recent acquisition and donation of breathalyzers to the police force through PAHO from money allocated to the National Road Safety Council from the UN Road Safety Fund is a very welcome one indeed.
He hopes the number of people nabbed for driving under the influence will spike and over time translate to staggering reductions in road crashes and fatalities. Nika Lewis, CVM News.
A mother is demanding answers after her teenager was allegedly assaulted by police officers. The incident, which reportedly started off as a search, has now sparked calls for accountability and an independent investigation. Shantae McNeil has that story.
A swollen wrist, torn clothes, a 15-year-old boy now limping. It may look like the aftermath of an animal attack, but there were no claws, no fangs. It was instead an encounter with the police as he walked home from school. He says he was walking with 3 female classmates when a police vehicle pulled up. They asked to search him. He agreed. Nothing was found. But what came next is believed to have been a result of a comment the teen admits he made. He doesn't like the police. He claims he was ordered to go into the vehicle and was told he'd be arrested for using indecent language, an order he resisted for this reason.
God know what they're going to do to me if I go down there by myself.
So is it that you were scared?
Exactly, because them are going to say, me try for one stay and do one bag of things. So,
One bag of things like that.
like, them did say me I threatened them. I wasn't threatening anyone. I was just telling them I go call people and make them know what I do.
And when he resisted, the two officers reportedly grabbed him. One allegedly used a baton, striking him on the wrist and at his side. His mother had just gotten home from work when she got a panicked call. She rushed to where he was, but by then, the officers had already left. She then went to the Glengough police station, where she confronted one of the officers involved. She says she was told her son was being arrested for what he said, but she countered that doesn't justify how he was treated. She further claims the lawmen denied responsibility for her son's bruises.
And when me, I go ask them, say, all right, uno are the one will do this to my son. Uno need to carry him to the hospital. The brown one I go laugh and say, him nah carry him go to hospital because of him do himself so. So how somebody swell up their horn and swell up their side and tear up their uniform and all of them something there. And you are going to say him throw down himself on the ground and do all of that. Like seriously?
She's demanding justice, as she says the police also refused to take a statement about the incident.
It's not a big man, he's a 15-year-old. If you hold on for him, me expect uno to call my phone and say, Mother, me have your son at the station or something because him do something. Me don't expect uno to do me pitness so. And me ask uno to carry him go to the hospital. And uno to tell me say uno not doing it. And at them do him so. And me not left him so at home. Me not send him so at school. And me reach out to police officers and nobody taking no statement. Them have me like a idiot up and down.
On Sunday, she told CVM News she has since filed a report at the Inspectorate and Professional Standards Oversight Bureau, IPROBE, who confirmed it would investigate the matter. CVM News has made multiple attempts to contact the police for a comment, but so far, no response. As for the teen, he says the incident has left him deeply shaken.
Really and truly, I just feel traumatized right now to go like anywhere near police.
Shante McNeil, CVM News.
Colorectal cancer is now the third most common and deadly forms of cancer in Jamaica, and health officials are sounding the alarm. One oncologist is pushing for more routine screenings, especially for those considered high risk. Courtney Lewis has more in this report.
Cases of colorectal cancer are on the rise, and at least one health official is calling for increased screenings. The disease, which arises from the colon and the rectum, is currently the third most common and fatal cancers in Jamaica. Oncologist Dr. Praveen Sharma says it can be prevented with special attention and awareness of risk factors.
High-fat diet, low-fiber diet is considered one of the risk factors. There are other associated things like obesity, lack of exercise, diabetes, smoking. These are also being associated with your risk of developing cancer.
The cancer is also more prevalent in males aged 45 to 74. Family history also plays a role. But the good doctor says this may not be a death sentence, as early detection may prevent aggressive treatment.
We have launched what we call as a screening guidelines. We have, in fact, we had a task group where different specialists got together, and we came, we have finalized as to how we can have guidelines to screen the general population of Jamaica. The idea is, prevention. It's always to catch this disease in the early stages, because if you catch them early, the treatment is not so aggressive.
Patients most often present as asymptomatic, but Dr. Sharma says high-risk patients should pay attention to the following signs.
Abdominal pain, some discomfort that is there, cramps are there, then you're seeing blood in your stools, and your bowel habits your altered bowel habits is important. So it's not necessarily that you'll get diarrhea or constipation. For a person, every person has a different type of bowel habit. Some people do 3 times in one day. Some people go once in 3 days. So any alteration in your bowel habits is important.
He encourages Jamaicans to get tested by providing a stool sample.
It has to be done on 3 different samples done on different days. All right, so that whether to say it is positive or negative. Compared to the FIT test, which is also a stool-based test, which is fecal immunochemical test, only one stool sample tested once is enough for the year.
Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
Farmers in Mendez Town, Low River, Trelawney have been uplifted by the introduction of a new road as part of the broader road rehabilitation farm road project. More from Joel Crossgill.
During the official handing over ceremony, Amar Sweeney, Managing Director, Jamaica's Social Investment Fund JSIF, who are responsible for the implementation of the Caribbean Development Bank and Government of Jamaica funded project, valued in excess of $140 million, spoke of the value the community members themselves had added to its construction.
But the community has received training in road maintenance under this project. And that training, I will tell you, included a kit. And so they have been provided with machetes, wheelbarrows, rakes, shovels, gloves, brooms, or even garbage bags to maintain the road. And the contribution of the community to this road through their sweat equity has been calculated and recorded at $4.9 million.
Agriculture Minister Floyd Green, in commending the buy-in, also maintained focused on the value of the development of the agricultural sector at scale.
Kids now that will grow up and walk on this road are going to have a completely different experience than generations before. You're going to see the housing stock. You're going to see the expansion of agriculture. You're going to see how the community takes on new life because of this investment. That is what governments should focus on. So one of the things that we have set our sights on as a government is to put more resources into our farm road program. And as such, we have increased the farm road program. When we found it, the government at the time was spending about a little less than about 200 million in a year on farm roads. This year, in this upcoming budget, we are going to be spending $900 million on farm roads. And last year, we comprehensively repaired 51 and we did minor rehabilitation to 30.
However, the road to rural development for Trelawney in particular was provided with an elevated perspective from the minister.
Trelawney for agriculture is critical. You are already our 3rd largest producer of agricultural items, but you produce the most valuable agricultural commodity. Our #1 agricultural export is yam. And the vast majority of that yam comes from right here in South Trelawney. So we have done some research and we've worked with JAMPRO and we've crafted a strategy to move yam forward. And I'll be speaking more about it in my sectorial. But just to know, we're going to be focusing on some critical elements. 1, we have to look at the planting material. We have to provide more high quality planting material, whether it be tissue culture or the seeds, so that you get more productivity.
For individuals like Percival Smith, who have been tilling the soil in these parts since he was a boy, following in the muddied footsteps of his father, it comes as a relief not just for himself and his peers, but also his trusty steed.
It's so bad road. If you put on road for a donkey, you have to push him. So now everything come all right, and now you can plant your ground, chop right down, take up yam, carry yam stick down there. Yeah? So everything All right, no.
The thought of what it will mean for the yields of the over 185 residents who have collectively placed over 100 acres under production seemed to make Ione Stewart Sams, president of the Community Development Committee, Mendestown, almost giddy with delight.
Feeling. And I just want to say a big thank you to Jamaica Social Investment Fund and the team for arranging this very mammoth task that would have been, this mammoth project rather, that they would have done here at the Mendestown Farm Road. Thank you very much.
Joel Crosskill, CVM News.
Jamaican-born billionaire and entrepreneur Dr. Trisha Bailey has been inducted into the University of Connecticut's Hall of Fame. Her philanthropic endeavors and excellence in business made her an ideal candidate at her alma mater. No doubt she remains generous with her latest fame. Nika Lewis shares how.
She's dubbed Jamaica's wealthiest woman and is an entrepreneur with a giving heart, impacting scores of people everywhere she goes. Dr. Trisha Bailey hails from St. Elizabeth, but before her monumental success with support from the University of Connecticut, hers was a journey marked by resilience and faith. Today, she remains one of the single largest donors to the University of Connecticut's athletics program and a member of the Board of Trustees at the university.
Most people remember me running around in Hartford because I was driven. I needed to escape a space where people told me no, a space where they told me that I could not succeed. My guidance counselor in high school, when I went to her my junior year, told me that I'm not college material. And I left her office thinking, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Filled with gratitude to God and her family near and far, she reminds what true success is all about.
Because success is not without challenges, but it's how you overcome these challenges. And being here today, UConn Business Hall of Fame, is an honor that I never imagined that I, this little girl who craved success, and I knew I had to do everything to win, no matter what the hurdles are, no matter what the challenges are, kick him over, go around or go under, but because I am going to be at that place. And today I am so thankful to God that He has brought me here. And I'm so thankful to my university who saw the light in me when no one else saw the light and gave me an opportunity. He gave me my full scholarship. And I am so grateful.
And in receiving, she gives hope to girls around the world that despite what others say or believe to be your path, only you and God can define that.
I am so grateful for the gift that my University of Connecticut has given me of success, and for allowing me to show that young girls across the globe, no matter what your circumstances are, this honor is for you. Keep striving. Keep striving because you are amazing. No matter who has counted you out, you will never count out yourself. And today, this honor is for every single one of you brown girls across the globe, because you can be here and you can be far beyond here.
Now, living in Florida, she makes plans to return to the cold of Connecticut, where she'll take up her new role. Nika Lewis, CVM News.
Let's go to our regional and international news now.
We begin with the news in the region. The license granted to the government of Trinidad and Tobago by the Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, of the United States to pursue the monetization of cross-border gas with Venezuela has been revoked. More from TTT News.
We have now been informed that our license from OFAC, which is dated the 18th of December 2023, has been revoked by OFAC, And that license is now revoked by OFAC, as well as our coquina mannequin license. It came a little while after the others. What I can tell Trinidad and Tobago is I don't have more details than that.
Prime Minister Stuart Young assures that government's legal team is already working towards a solution and explains there is a grace period before the revocation of the license goes into effect.
In Belize, law enforcement authorities tracked a Tropic Air flight that was hijacked by a U.S. national leaving Corozal. He has been identified as 49-year-old Akiniela Sawa Taylor. A passenger on board the aircraft shot and killed Taylor moments after the plane landed at the Philip Goldson International Airport. Here's Channel 5 Belize.
The flight had 14 passengers, including an infant. Flight tracking shows the pilot made a sharp turn after takeoff, circled around and then headed south. South of Belize City, the plane turned east over the Caribbean Sea, circled Key Caulker and San Pedro Town, then turned over land near the Philip Goldson International Airport. It went back out to sea before landing at the airport an hour and a half after leaving Corozal. A licensed firearm holder on board shot and killed Taylor moments after landing. These Cessna Caravan planes can travel over 1,000 miles in ideal conditions, but the pilot told Taylor they were low on fuel, according to Commissioner of Police Chester Williams.
And at one point in time, he demanded that they land at an area where they can receive additional fuel. Our greatest concern was the fuel consumption of the plane. Information that we were getting that the fuel was depleting.
And in international news, the Israeli military has said an operational misunderstanding led to the killing of 14 emergency workers in Gaza last month. An inquiry into the incident by the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, found a series of failings. It said the killing of a UN worker shortly afterwards was, quote, a breach of orders during a combat setting, end quote. Details from the BBC.
Well, I think we're seeing in this report that the Israeli army has come some distance from its initial description of what happened a week after the incident at the end of March. But even given that, it's still saying that this was, in a sense, an operational misunderstanding in terms of the deaths of the 14 medics and civil defense workers. In terms of the killing of the UN worker, they're saying that was a breach of orders, and they are dismissing, as you said, the battalion, the deputy battalion commander from the Golani brigade there. So that is unusual for the Israeli army to actually dismiss someone, but that is a field commander on the ground. What else? In terms of further up the command chain, it's a reprimand for the brigade commander himself. I think there are still a lot of unanswered questions. Firstly, of course, people will say, look, these vehicles were approaching rapidly. There were lots of people jumping out of them. Well, that's kind of what happens with ambulances and fire trucks, right, when they get to an incident. And we already know, of course, that from earlier video evidence that these ambulances did have their lights on, did have their emergency signals on. And so this description of the commander not being able, because of night visibility or problems with visibility at night, to identify them, that raises questions. Also, I think they are continuing to assert that 6 of those who died, 6 of the 14 ambulance workers and civil defense workers, were retrospectively, as they put it, identified as members of Hamas.
That's it for regional and international news. I'm Nika Lewis.
Inspire Jamaica is next. Stay with us.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. We've got everything, stocking top brands like CNCs, Philips, and Allen Bradley. We guarantee quality and reliability. Shop with us and save with even free island-wide delivery. Conditions apply. Visit us at Shop 8 Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in electrical business.
Join my private room. Only $1,000 for $1,000. time. That I know me. We never said that. But who going to believe me?
That is correct. $4,350,000. Yes, go ahead. $4 million? I never approved that.
Yes, me I go doctor tomorrow. So me have to get the money today, no longer. Then no me face that. We never make no record or beg nobody no money.
Deepfakes are AI-generated images and videos made to look and sound like people we know and trust. They're used to spread misinformation, destroy reputations, and are used to commit fraud and scams. Don't fall victim to deepfakes. Protect yourself. For more information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
And everybody with me, yeah. Why eat other snacks when sunshine is the best for you? Nature's best buns are crunchy. The flavor that sings to you. Salted banana and plantain. Taste the freshness, naturally sweet. The flavor that sings to you.
Ayo, nature's best bunch. Hey, when we party, we so unique. Small off, we drink it, we do it. So make we start it. You best believe. We go be linking in Miami.
Buy a Smirnoff Vodka 750 or 200 milliliters for a chance to win an all-expense-paid trip to Miami Carnival, Gen X costumes, tickets, weekly prizes, and more. Just take a pic of your receipt, scan the barcode, and upload to enter. Go to Smirnoff.com for more details. Smirnoff must be 18 years and older. Drink and live responsibly.
Welcome back. Inspire Jamaica now picks up after recovery from some 5 surgical procedures to correct Hirschsprung's disease, a condition that restricts bowel movement, usually detected after birth, but sometimes later in children, more boys than girls. Now, faced with the fact no surgery is risk-free, this case is encouraging for child, family, and the pediatric surgeon.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
Go! Kaden, run! Run, Kaden! Run!
Because it takes a lot of parental grit, a lot of parental dedication to see their children going through the various stages of this kind of surgery and to deal with complications that can occur at any stage of the operation or afterwards.
And so, playtime for this St. James mother and her child is such a treasure.
What seemed like a long and stressful process has worked out now that my 4-year-old Kaden is now back in school and now living a normal life. Fortunately, Dr. Badal is a pediatric surgeon that is located in Montego Bay. Otherwise, I would have to go to Kingston to have all these surgeries completed.
Extensive, complex procedures which allow continuity of the intestinal tract, hence a first to normal bodily function eventually calls for celebration.
Tears actually came to my eyes because I was like, Dr. Badal, he's the boss. He told me at some point Kaden will get there and will able to tell me that he wants to pass his stool. I literally called Dr. Badal's night and said, Dr. Badal, God is working on Kaden.
And it's the visible or invisible deep suffering of others we don't know about. Dr. Badal reminds, even little ones endure.
The general issue of poor passage of stool and soiling, especially in school-age children, brings into sharp focus the issue of emotional distress, shaming, other disruptive behaviors can occur because of these kids being bullied at school for whatever reason. So it is important that as we educate about Hirschsprung's and constipation in general, that we sensitize the population at large that there are certain patients or persons among us that will always have something that's unique and different